create macros that then can spit out like more text. So for me, yeah, it's a little shortcut. So I type WINQ, which is wedding inquiry. That's like how I remember it. So I just type just those letters, and then a like 4-paragraph email jumps up, and it also you can say where you want the cursor to end up with that macro. So I do like WINQ, and it goes hi, space, and the cursor's right there, and I just type their name in. And then I go to like the next line, and I'm like, oh yes, I am still free on your date, or like what should I say, like September 24th, and then like they in their initial email. What?
Monday.
Monday, is that Monday? Okay. I feel like I've definitely shot weddings on September 24th.
I think you're available.
Yeah, I don't recall what dates of the year, but yeah. So just like you say, like whichever date it is, and then like in their initial contact email, if they were like, oh, we're getting married at this venue, and if you've been there before, you're like, oh, I love that venue, it's so pretty because of X. Or like if you haven't shot there, you're like, oh, I'm like really beautiful area. I know the venue. I would love to shoot there. Just kind of like ways to personalize it from their first initial inquiry email.
Right now I have like 50 email templates. Me too. It's
good. But you probably have to like click and then look. And
yeah, so I like this better. It's a little bit.
But yeah, it's super easy.
Copy and paste. It's not.
Yeah, it's not like you don't have to have all these drafts saved and go in your draft folder, select, copy, paste. It's all you need to do is just type a little macro, and it puts it in there. And you can have as many as you want. Like I have a bunch of them throughout my whole kind of like workflow process, but also like just in terms of like the lead nurturing, like I have those in there, and then like, you can do like little ones. Like I say, let me know a lot, and so if I do LMK, then it just types out let me know. And so just like little micro efficiencies that you can save time with, but from a lead nurturing situation, it's super helpful for just doing those initial emails and getting those templates out. And then I also use another add-on called Boomerang for Gmail. Don't know if anybody uses that one.
Love it.
So Boomerang, like what a boomerang does is you throw it and it comes back to you. So with this, you throw out your email and it will come back to you whenever you send it. So you click the little checkbox and you say, boomerang this email to me if they haven't responded in 4 days or 7 days or whatever kind of like works for you. I say generally you want to follow up between like 4 days and 7 days, just because I like to like give them a little bit of time and not just be like hitting them, because if you're like send them an email and the next day you're like, hey, you still interested? And the next day you're like, oh, are you still interested? Would you like to set up? I'd be like no, like that's not how you want to be. You want to like
why not?
Yeah, like you want to give them a little bit of time to like mull over, because they've probably also emailed 10 to 15 other photographers or like wedding planners or florists. Like they are shopping.
My favorite is when they don't change the name, like to the initial inquiry that they're doing, and they're like, "Hello, Josephine." It's like,
"Hello, Josephine Photography."
Yeah, exactly.
I'd be like, "You don't like me, don't you?"
Hi.
Yeah.
Sorry.
And I just call them by some random name, like whatever. But yeah, so Boomerang is another free add-on. Super helpful for not forgetting to do those follow-up emails, which like, so if you had an automated email nurturing sequence, those things would kind of happen automatically. You could set the time gaps, but with this kind of more beginner, like starting off lead nurturing sequence, like it's a little bit more manual. Like you have to click the checkbox, but it's nothing that you couldn't like really handle probably. It's just kind of getting into the mindset of like, yes, I check that checkbox whenever I send a new email.
Do you have to be in do you have to be in Chrome to use that? You couldn't use that with like your mail app on your phone?
So that's the biggest struggle, is there's horrible tracking capabilities and add-ons for mobile devices. So yeah, it's generally things you have to do from your desktop, which
What if you're emailing in Outlook?
Like using a Gmail account for the
No,
Outlook, or just like
Outlook.
using an Outlook.
Not using it, using Gmail.
So like I use Chrome for everything.
But not for
I use
emailing.
Outlook for my email.
Okay, so that makes things a little bit harder because did you use the desktop version or do you use Outlook online?
Yeah, because I have a lot of emails, so a lot of the back emails are saved to my computer because I want to get rid of them. So I use the program instead of even the online version of Outlook.
Okay.
Just
See,
be
I'm not,
difficult.
I know, it's okay.
No one can.
But I'm not as familiar if there are any add-ons like Boomerang for Outlook. I haven't, like I don't use Outlook, so I can't really help you with that.
So is it specifically for Gmail?
Yeah, so Boomerang is for Gmail. So that's like one kind of like caveat to that. What other email programs do you guys use?
Can you do the text expander like within like a 17 hats or like a?
Yeah, so Text Expander works on anything within Chrome.
Same with Boomerang or no? Or just
Boomerang has to be with Gmail, so it's like Boomerang for Gmail, unless they've expanded for other email platforms, but I'm really not sure.
Or maybe there's something else for other platforms.
Yeah, there could potentially be other
Like
things
it
for
might
like
be.
cross platforms. Definitely like something like that. There's another app that doesn't like bring the emails back, but it's called HubSpot Sales, which it's a free thing that HubSpot puts out. Like they have many different paid things that they're trying to get you for, and then they're trying to like get you because there's like a free version and like a paid version. But the basic version of HubSpot Sales allows you to track opens to the emails that you send, so you can see if somebody's actually sent that or opened the email, and that can be a good kind of way, like during your lead nurturing situation, you can be like, oh, well, they haven't opened my first email yet, so I'll send them like the follow-up and maybe like do a little bit more information than I would if I've seen that they have opened it, and then you can more just be like, I'm just checking like in, like, you don't want to be like the creeper person that says, well, I see that you've opened my email but haven't responded, so what's up? You definitely kind of like don't.
See how many times I want to do that.
Yeah, I mean, like, there's a time and a place.
There are
for-
non-creepy ways to do that.
Right.
Exactly.
I'll go into depth with that.
But yeah, so kind of making that not be a creepy. Like you don't want to be creepy during the entire thing. Like these are your
Not
first,
entirely.
like your first dates pretty much with your clients. You want them to go well, and you don't want to be a creeper. That's like number one thing. Lead nurture.
Wait until the second date, and then let your true colors show.
Exactly. But yeah, so there is Boomerang for Outlook.
Amazing.
All right.
I love Boomerang, because you can do the same thing. You can check a box to make sure to see if they read it or not, and then sometimes it'll automatically, if they haven't read it, you can set it to automatically resend. I love Boomerang, thanks to him, so it's my favorite.
Yeah, there are definitely like more things you can do. You can like send mail later. Like Boomerang if they do open, Boomerang if they don't open. Boomerang if they just haven't responded. Or just Boomerang about what. I'm saying Boomerang a lot. It's a fun word.
And it's fun. And you do get the little Boomerang icon too, so it's even more fun.
Yeah, and like there is, I'm pretty sure there is like a limit to the number of Boomerang credits you're allowed to have per month.
Yeah.
It's like not super high. I think there's like a free version you can pay for to get more credits though.
I feel like
I
it's,
thought it was like
I thought it was like
30 or 100.
Yeah.
And they're recycled every month.
Yeah.
So yeah, like if you have
that popular, so it works out for me.
exactly. But yeah, so if you have like a lot of leads, then like you would probably have to go with like the paid versions of these things. But they all do have free versions just to test it out, see if it works for you, and see if it like work in your workflow and business. But the biggest thing is after you send your first initial inquiry response is to follow up, whether that's 4 days or 7 days or somewhere in that realm. Like you could test 3 days. Like, I mean, nothing is set in stone. It's what's like worked well for my business. But I would always say you should test and see like what works best to get like the best responses. But it's to follow up for sure, because many times I'll send a follow up and be like, oh, I'm really sorry, I've been like busy and just like missed it, but like, yes, I would totally love to set up a meeting with you. And I'm like, awesome. Like, if I didn't follow up, it probably would have just gone into the ether. So follow up for sure with every lead that you get. And I'm a big in-person meeting and selling person because I can show you and tell you in person. So my whole process is getting them to that first initial meeting, and that's like our consultation where we like really talk about things. Speaking more for weddings, like for like smaller things like portraits and stuff, they don't always necessitate having a consultation. But jumping on the phone can be like really helpful. You kind of humanize yourself more and make yourself like more approachable to the client, because no matter what you're doing, like there is a relationship there, and you need to respect that and nurture it, and not just have them as like another number or another line item in your invoicing. Like everybody needs to be felt, or they need to feel like they're important to you.
Well, if they are a portrait photographer and you focus on in-person sales, then that would be a great opportunity for you to meet with them. But I don't think, do we have any portrait photographers? Yeah, okay. So do you focus on in-person sales?
I try to, but
Yep.
it's so hard.
Well, it's hard too until you have like an actual system that is like running like a well-oiled machine.
And also, I was in Boston for a
Mhm.
while, so a lot of my clients are like South Shore in
Yep.
Boston, and then to the west, and so it's like,
Yep.
I don't want to go into Boston.
Yep, don't blame you. No.
It's trying to get on the phone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Skype works really well, or like FaceTime, whatever.
I call it FaceTime and wine date. So that way, like when I used to have clients from like West Coast or whatever, obviously I'm not going to drive to you for wine. Love you, mean it, but not that much. So you just call it FaceTime and wine date. You know, whatever works for you.
Yeah. Just like it's anytime you can have more like a FaceTime with a client, like it's gonna deepen that relationship and thus like lead to generally higher bookings or higher sales.
They're going to feel more comfortable with you right out of the gate too.
Yeah.
Like, you know, if I just see your icon and I'm talking with them, you can be like, who the actual F is this guy? Like,
Yeah.
you know, if you make a joke and I don't know your personality, I'd be like, what? You know?
Yeah,
But
like
it
you
helps.
need to see the smile. Like you need to like be personable and like be a human being and not just a typing robot.
Exactly.
But so whenever you get to that consultation, whether it's a phone consultation, Skype, or in person, always follow up from there as well. So I generally would do one either the next, if it was a morning meeting that night, or the next day being like, I really enjoyed meeting with you. I love talking about X, Y, and Z. I would love to do this or that for you, whichever things you're looking for, and then just kind of like reiterate and say like what you've said in that meeting, so they can then remember it and separate you from the other people that they're meeting with, because like they might have 4 consultations in one day. Like, you don't know what they're really going through, so you need to be like, this is who I was in those seas of consultations that you've met with. Not even they've met like only with like 2 other photographers, but they've also met with a florist, a cake vendor. Like there's just so many people during the wedding planning process that you need to kind of be like, no, this was me. And
Just like that. With a shiny little bow.
exactly. So like just kind of showing yourself again, and then give them a couple more days and follow up again if they haven't like responded. Like, I mean, if you got a great client, they'll respond to your first email like right away, and then you're like, all right, set up a meeting, let's hang it out. We have a meeting. They're like, that was awesome. Follow up, be like, I love meeting with you. Like, yes, here's my contract.
Yeah.
That's an ideal situation, but that doesn't always. It's not how it always works. So having those systems in place to follow up again is like very important. Using like a boomerang or text expanders for just like your email macros are very helpful.
So do you send pricing like for the first email, or do you send pricing until the consultation, or?
Yeah. So that's like a big thing that like everybody kind of wants to know or isn't sure about. And so generally, like at least for what's worked well for me is I say price is starting at, and generally like on average my couples spend this to really kind of qualify them, because like we don't need to have an in-person meeting if I'm $1,000 outside of your budget at my starting price. Like that's a great thing, and like if the person goes dark on you, that's probably what happened. Like you're either like too expensive, or I mean you can actually be too low. Depends on where you're at and what kind of type of client it is. If you're too low, that'd be
That's
my
a
type of
whole
client.
other,
Yeah.
well, that's a whole other conversation.
But still, yes. Like I don't send them a like PDF of my pricing and packages, because that's not me. I'm selling me to the client and all that I can offer. I'm not selling line items into packages. Like I'm selling the work that I will create and the experience I will create for my customers and clients. And just like saying like, oh yes, you get a 12 by 12, 30-page album, 10 hours of coverage, and like all these bullet lists. Like that's gonna leave them more questions than answers, and like they don't know what a rigid lay flat page is, or I mean like they might, but you want to assume that people like don't know stuff like that. So like that's why like I don't send out pricing and packaging. I just say like prices start at, and people generally spend this, and that's worked out well for me to qualify people, so you're not like wasting both of your times with like okay, let's have a consultation, and you're like, here's my prices. They're like, I can't even begin to like look at these, and then you're just like, well, I'm sorry, that can leave them feeling weird, and you're just kind of like wasting time, because like even a client that doesn't end up booking you could still potentially be a referral source for other people, because they're like their work was amazing, they're just like a little bit outside of my price budget, but like it works out well.
When we talked about how you have to Lululemon pants.
Yeah, I mean I did talk about that.
Yeah, no, I think so. Can I tell you?
Yeah, get into it.
I feel like I'm trying. You just hit me. So I like to compare it to my Lululemon example. So I'm obsessed with Lululemon. Only yoga pants, nothing else really. Just the yoga pants. They make your butt look good. It doesn't matter how old you are. But if I had gone into the Lululemon store and found my first pair of Lululemon pants and went to the register, I probably would have had half a heart attack and died when I found out that they were $92 starting. So
For yoga
pants. I mean, they're damn good. Don't get me wrong, but so you, like he was saying, you just want to have a starting price point. So for me, what I would do in the past is I would say, oh, and if you missed my pricing page, feel free to check it out here, and then I would link back to whatever pricing information, package information that I have on my website, because not only is that giving them the information so you don't have to repeat yourself like like you're kicking a dead horse, but you're also building SEO because you're driving traffic to your website. So it's kind of like a two-fer deal. Yeah, I like those. Sorry.
It's okay. Yeah, I mean that's kind of mostly it in terms of the referrals. I mean the like nurturing sequence in terms of just like very basic start to an easy system. It's like with that you could grow into a more automated lead nurturing system using like I use Dubsado, Rising Tide is like partner with HoneyBooks, like that's another option. There's a lot of different things, like 17 hats, so if you like mentioned. So like anything like that, like you could have all of their forms built into your website, so when somebody fills out a form, they could have like a date picker on there, and you could have it be like conditionally logic saying like, oh well, if I'm open on that date, send this email template, if I'm not, send this email template, and then have the automatic follow-up email if they haven't opened or responded, and like having all of that automated to try to get them to a meeting. I mean, you could even set it up like with other apps like Calendly, which links with your calendar, so you could have people booking actual time to meet with you without you ever having to like do any sort of
Oh, it's a beautiful thing.
like work
Trust me.
into it. I mean, like it definitely you have to fully use these things.
It's
Other-
not like dip your toes in. It's like you're all in or not at all.
Yeah. But
You're like,
It's-
no, I like dipping toes.
I just feel like it changes so fast, I couldn't update.
so I mean,
What is that thing?
Well, do you have a calendar on your phone that you manage? So it links to that. So for me, I use a calendar. I use Acuity. If you have a Squarespace website, FYI, any of you, Acuity is free. Just letting you know. But I don't. Okay. And so anyway, I just have a spot on my website that people go to book a free consult call with me, and I manage my calendar from my phone. And so it will block off times anytime I have an appointment. So it will only give availability for like times it sees that I have available. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah.
yeah. But you have to put things into the calendar to make sure that like when you are not available, you don't get like a double booking. So like it's there are ways to grow with this and make it be more automatic if necessary or if you're at that volume. But like I don't want this to be such a like pie in the sky, like this is where you should be. Everyone should have automated systems that's the only way. And it's like that's not always the
Right.
best thing for smaller businesses and creative professionals. So you can grow into those systems, but you don't have to feel like you need to do that right away. Because it's very overwhelming to try to think like, all right, like I have to set all this up beforehand and I don't even know if it's gonna work. So like you kind of test small, doing a little bit more of the manual work and figure out what does work, and then as your leads and inquiries and volumes grow, you can move into an automated system to send out those response emails and feel like a little bit more personalized for people, even though it's automatic. Does anybody have kind of like general questions on the lead nurturing things or the apps I mentioned, or just anything along those lines of life? Yeah, we can do life questions too. We'll just open it wide open.
Kick that door.
I moonlight as a life coach. We can kick it over to Lauren and she can talk about some workflows and referral systems and all those mad Larrys.
Okay, cool. Do you guys mind if I stand? Okay, because I'm like fighting the ADD right now, and I'm like, if I move a little bit, I think I'll be good. Okay, good. Yeah, I just kind of need something to do, I won't lie. Okay, so, oh, that's really pretty. See? Candy? So, yeah, like I said, I had hopped onto the group late last night, and I saw that workflows was kind of like a common WTF, like where do I even start and whatnot. And so we, gave you some great tips and great starting points, I think, too. But one thing I did want to touch upon really quickly before I dive into that a little bit more is a referral system. So, how many people have an actual referral system set up right now? Okay, totally okay.
How do you constitute as referral system?
Well, I will tell you. Having it implemented as part of your actual workflow. Does everyone know what a workflow actually means? Like, this isn't a trick question. I'm being 100% sincere. Does anyone want me to explain it? Okay. Okay. So a workflow literally is from the point a person inquires with you on your website or calls you or, pigeon mails you, however they get in touch with you.
Slide into your DMs.
Yeah, oh. Actually, remind me to talk about ManyChat because that's going to help that. Okay, so all the way from inquiry, all the way through the wedding, and then post-wedding for like a wedding photographer. So it's all of those steps that you do with every single client, every single time, depending on what package they choose, or what level of service you have, if they're only doing hair, if you're only doing makeup, whatever. But it's the same thing every single time, so you're not forgetting any steps, you're not leaving anything out. So does anyone actually know what their workflow looks like? Have you guys written it down? Okay, no, hey, we're getting going there. Okay, so what I would definitely encourage you to do, and this is not me pleading, this is just me like, write it down. Because if I had money to put on it right now, I have my debit card, love you mean it, I'm keeping that. If I had money to put down on it right now, you're forgetting steps. Because even the best of the best do, except for probably this robot. So, anyway, so I encourage you to write it down, because you're going to find that steps come to you out of order. You're like, oh yeah, I remember, I send them a welcome package, and it, comes at the end. Well, obviously it's not going to come at the end, so you need to, revisit it and then streamline, step 1, step 2, step 3. So that would be my first suggestion. But referral system, and to see, I always come back. It may be very sparkly route, but I always come back. A system is just something that you work into that flow of work. So for me, when I was actively planning, when I would book a client and they gave me my deposit and contract and all that good stuff, the next step for me always was to send them a welcome package. And I have an article all about welcome packages, so if you're like, what do I even send to people? I give you an entire list of ideas over on my blog. That's not a plug. I'm just saying, like, if you want more information on that, there it is. But within that, I would have printed something talking to them about the first steps in getting set up with aisle planner. Wedding planners, aisle planner. Yeah, okay. So aisle planner can be very confusing. It's primarily used by wedding planners. It's like a step-by-step, like, don't forget this, and here's your checklist, and here's your budget, and guest list, and all of those fun things. But I would talk about like step 1 and step 2 with aisle planner and getting started. But then I would say, oh, and in case I forgot to mention it, we have a referral system with LEC and Company. So all that means is anytime that if you have a girlfriend or a boyfriend that is getting married and they, are looking for a planner, and you refer them our way, and if they book us, then I'm going to give you fill in the blank. So it could be $50, it could be incremental. So for your first person that you refer to us, you get $50. Second person that books with us, you get $100. Third person, $150. And it caps out at $150 in case you're like a walking billboard. Love you, mean it, but that would get very, very lengthy. So there's that. Or you could do, just a Starbucks gift card or, something. But people work for incentives. It could be the smallest freaking thing. What? Go. Tell
I just wanted to say, I love that you say that right, like, upon booking. Because generally people think, like, okay, here's your wedding album, we're all done. By the way, I have a referral system. And it's like, you could have had 18 months of that person referring you versus only, like, then going after the
2
wedding.
weeks.
Like,
because they're on their honeymoon and they don't give any more about the wedding, right?
So, like, you can start that process early. Like, I even sometimes will mention it just, like, in a consultation if it kind of comes up naturally. Be like, oh yeah, and like, I got a referral system, so like if you want to get free prints.
Do you say it like that too?
Yeah, always.
I actually believe he does.
You want some free prints?
Free prints and
You
shop.
get a free print. You get a free print. I'm like, Oprah.
But so yeah,
It would be
like,
so much fun.
you can start that process early.
You should.
And that's like the biggest thing that I feel like people forget about or don't think about is the referral process starts.
It should start soon. And this, guys, one thing I do want to point out and just make mention right off the bat, you don't have to do any of these things that we're saying. Seriously. Like, I don't want you guys to leave this room and then be like, oh my god, I have so much shit I have to do. No, that's not the point. You pick pieces of what you want to implement into your own business. Not all of it's going to work for you, right? Like, maybe I'm talking about a referral system and you're like, yeah, okay, no. You don't have to do it, but it's just an idea for you because this is the whole, right? Like, yeah, I'm starting to get blank stares. Am I trying to keep people involved? Okay. Okay, so that would be the beginning process. And then, throughout, if a conversation comes up where they're like, oh my God, my BFF just got engaged, I'm like, ah, and you have that conversation with them, if they're looking for a, don't forget, we have this running, $1 million for whatever. And, you kind of just drop those seeds in because it's so much easier to book clients when someone else who had an amazing experience with you is doing the work for you. Okay? So each time a client walks out the door, that is a lost opportunity for them to be a walking spokesperson for you. Because think about this. You are looking for a new restaurant to try out. Okay. You're looking for a new restaurant to try out. What do?
Laura, do you know any good restaurants around here?
No, because I'm not from here.
Wow.
I think the one I'm in is really good.
It
Because
is.
it looks really pretty and I would just look at everything and not eat. Yes, but that's what you
Sushi's
do.
the bomb.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't realize they even had sushi here. How dumb am I?
Yeah.
And they have sake. Why am I?
I've actually only had sushi here. Like every time I come here and I look at the menu, I'm like, everything looks good. But I'm like, oh, but sushi. It's a real problem.
Problems 101. But that's what you do. You either hop on social media and say, hey guys, I'm looking for a new restaurant, or I don't have cable, haven't had cable in 10 years, true story. I have no idea what movies are playing right now, what's good? Like, we do that without even thinking about it. So, in dropping those little neeps, you are going to be getting the service and the future clients. I can't tell you how many clients come to me through referral. But to be totally honest, I lost count because I started to phase out of LDC and not really care anymore. 100% honest, transparency, all right here. So, that is, it's so much easier to cultivate the relationship that you already have and have them working for you. And so the final thing that, I would put in your workflow is, at the very end. So whether you send them a handwritten card, whether you send them a final email, I would write them in a card, but if, whatever you do that works for you, just once again, kind of do, not a plug, not a sales pitch, but just I absolutely loved working with you. Here's, I don't know, a $20 gift card to Target. Go get, I don't even know, some beer. I don't even know. I'm like, do they have wine in mine?
I do beer shopping at Target.
I do all my shopping, my life shopping, Target. And say something like that and be like, it doesn't matter because what you're doing with that last step, what do you think we're doing? This isn't a trick question, guys. Bingo. You're leaving a lasting impression. Your face, your service, if it was good. Let's make a little caveat on this one. If the client was that client for you that season, we all know, we all have at least one every season. Some of us are fortunate to have like 4. I'm sorry, I'll send you wine, the wine club, tell me your address. But do not encourage it continuing on. Like for referral system, you guys picking up what I'm laying down here? Yeah. Okay.
They might have also
You just-
horrible friends.
Usually,
Yeah. So it's all, you feel it out.
Yeah.
Do you want more of those people?
Yeah. Do you want more of those people? If they're your dream client, you're like, I will do anything for you and your friends. And then if they're like not, you'll be like,
I will do nothing for you and your
here's
friends.
your stuff. See ya later.
Yeah, no extra perks, nothing. So that's kind of my, referral system idea. But it's really hard to implement something like that when you yourself don't have a set workflow. Okay? So it's kind of segues in. Do you guys have any questions with the referral system before I kind of dive in?
So I do have a referral system,
Yeah.
but I wasn't using it at the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
And now that totally makes sense,
Mhm.
and I want to let all my couples know. What do you think I can do to let them know at this point?
Are you talking about for couples this season?
Yes.
Do they already know that it exists in some capacity?
some of them, but no, not really.
Okay, for the ones that are indefinite, don't have a clue, I would say, yay, we just launched this new referral program! Ah!
And then,
Mm-hmm. For the ones that you're like, oh shit, did I tell them about that? I don't know. Then,
Maybe it could be part of another email, like
exactly.
checking in to blah blah blah, and don't forget.
It's kind of like a under the yeah.
Yeah, or I mean, like, depending on your relationship, I mean, be like, I totally don't remember if I did this, but like, I'm launching this new thing. I'm like, if you refer blah blah, then you get this. And like, it's like, they might not remember if you've told them too, so they'd be
new
like,
thing she's launching.
No,
they
'cause
just happen to see it.
I did. I remember. I actually. One of the few things I remember. I actually remember, and I got 8 shares from that, from past brides and current
On
brides.
social media.
Mhm.
I heard that question.
Yeah, sorry. Yes. So on my Facebook page, I had created a graphic that you can create for free in Canva if you are not Photoshop or Adobe certified. But luckily I'm getting better. But I just created a really simple graphic, shared it on Facebook, and so the visual component is key whenever you do anything like that on social media, because people are going to scroll through text, but if it's like something shiny and like bright or your brand colors, exactly, it's going to draw them in, and they're going to be like, oh, shit, I didn't know I could get $150 in, so do something like that. But yeah, sorry, my wheels are spinning a million times a minute. You're welcome. I'm like, how else can she do it? Turn that off. Okay.
like, you can do whatever you want for the referral system too. You don't have to be giving out cash or gift cards or whatever like that. Like, what I do is something that is high perceived value, low physical cost to me.
Mm-hmm.
So I give out free prints, and they're like, yeah, you want a 16 by 24 print? Like, that's like $200 or like $400, like whatever it is, like value to me, $28.
I actually don't give free prints, but what I do is I give them any signature package 10% off some other person booking, and then they get 10% or whatever percent off from the prints they can buy from.
Yeah.
Make it
Yeah.
automatic.
And that's a great
And
idea
gift
too.
get too is a good thing. So like, I do, you get this, and the person that books me gets this. So it's a give, which then like their friend is going to be like, wow, look at, you got this for me, and it's like a win-win for both people. And,
It's like Ebates. When a friend signs up, you get $25 and they get 10, and you're like, but they still get something.
yeah, exactly. So it's like,
Even though they don't buy prints, they still refer, that they love you and that they love you.
And that's exactly it.
Experience.
Because the incentive, honestly, like 100% honesty, transparency really doesn't matter. But anybody will work for something that's free. It literally could be a pencil. I mean, make it like a unicorn sparkly one at least. Like, make it something pretty. But they'll work for it. Yeah.
will work for free. Thanks.
Within reason. Corners of the street are not what I'm considering here, Lee. Okay.
What?
I'm a classy geek. Okay, so let's dive into workflows a little bit more, yeah? Okay. First things first, I would love to know how many of you guys are a business of one, a company of one. Okay, perfect. Company of 2? Rock on, ish. Yep, one of those. Got it. Everyone has one of those. Yeah. Okay.
Depends on how many personalities I have.
So okay, so that's good to know. And then the second thing, I would love to know, how many years in business have you all been in? 1 or 2? Raise your hand. Okay, like just starting out.
No, it's been about 3 years, but officially I've been here now.
Perfect. 4 to 5? Okay. 5 plus? Wow, my God, we're all crazy in this house. Okay, perfect. Me too. All right, good. so for those of you that raised your hand, which was everyone, this is going to benefit you. You like what I did there? Okay. So Lee started to talk about, what was the code? Your snippets.
Micro macros.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. So for that, because this to me is Latin, I'm like, what are you talking about? I use a program called Alfred. And so what it does, it's very... Have you ever seen it? He has a little top hat.
I have not.
You look it up, see it, talk you something.
Yeah.
You're like, I don't need that. Okay. It's amazing. I literally, okay, so I'll be the first one to admit I buy a lot of ish that I never then use. I'll be the first one, like subscriptions, and then I'm like, oh yeah, I forgot I had that subscription 2 years ago. I didn't really think that I was going to like Alfred or if it would stick with me. You know how you try something and you're like, oh my god, this is the best thing ever, and then like a week later you forgot that you even have it. You guys know what I'm talking about, right? Okay. Less you?
Cough.
Less. So it actually has stuck with me. So I have a Mac. I'm not sure if Alfred is available on PC. I lo siento on that one that I don't know. But it's something that you easily can, just like macros. So for me, I push Option space, and I can start typing in anything, and it's gonna find it. So it's very similar to like the search, the highlight on a Mac, but with this bad Larry, how many people use emojis? Okay, how many use them like in your emails and whatever? Do you guys know how to do that if you're on a computer? See, this is gonna be like the best thing you learned today. Emojis. Okay. So, yeah, you can right there, girl.
Oh, I know, but that's why I'm surprised. Nobody else knows.
Yeah, so rock on.
Oh, I was confused.
Smartest girl in the room.
I feel old, like I'm trying to keep up with the young kids.
You're fine.
I put them
Use
up as
emoji.
double.
I know, I'm
It's
like,
one of my day.
letter emoji. So there are a couple ways to do this. So if you don't use Alfred, if you go to your keyboard in settings, and then you are going to click show keyboard, and then it's going to have the emoji option. I know I'm forgetting about 17 steps, but if you Google this, it will give you all of the accurate steps, okay? But if you're using Alfred, all you have to do is type snip, and then you can start typing like happy or flag or I don't even know what, and all those emojis pop up, and it's the best thing ever. Sorry.
Is this like a plugin for your email, or is this like a whole email system?
This has nothing to do with email.
Oh.
This is for your whole computer.
Oh, okay.
It's a beautiful thing.
Okay.
Sorry, I really love Alfred. This is not like a promo. Like I'm not like, yeah, affiliate for Alfred. Like
Just for emojis?
no,
Oh no, I'm looking.
Google it.
multitask like we all do so well. Because I'm pretty sure all of us creatives have like 100 tabs in our heads going all the time. Use one of them right now. Okay, so yes, that's Alfred. He's amazing, little top hat man. So if I'm looking for a document that I forget where I put it, something I made 17 years ago and I don't remember where it is on the computer, I think it was called this. It brings it up from like the archives of the archives of the archives. Sorry, I heard a wow. Was that you? Oh,
That was me.
I was like, I got a wow out of him.
That I'm all tired.
My organizational is just.
A little OCD, it's fine. We love you. It's okay, I am too. That's why I can say that. Okay, so that was my first yay thing that I wanted to make mention of. I don't even know why I started talking about Alfred, to be totally honest.
Talk about macros.
I don't know.
Officially.
Yeah, I don't know.
Referrals maybe?
No.
So it's just for searching on the
workflow.
computer?
No, because Alfred has workflows too.
Okay.
That's why. Thank you. Woo, back there. Yeah, so actually, I haven't utilized them a whole lot. It's something that some of you may find super helpful, but if you type in like a certain command on Alfred, it can run an entire workflow for you, like on your computer. Not through email, not through like anything else. Like if it's, I don't know, you I don't even have an example of one right now. I'm running on no coffee. Sorry. So just look up Alfred. Okay. So now I'm gonna dive into a little bit more of the meat and potatoes. How many people have a set of canned emails that they use right now? Okay. Where are they?
Email templates.
Bingo. How many people use Apple Mail? Love you. Okay. Did you guys know? You probably do, so shh. I'm like, you in the corner, shh. Did you know that you can actually input all of your canned email responses as signatures? You're welcome. I got you. So what I just said, if you're using Gmail, then you can put your templates in there pretty easily, I think. I don't have Google Suite. I run Zoho Mail. We won't get into that. But I find roundabout ways to do everything in life, and so that's why. But I use Apple Mail, and so where there's the drop down where you can select like your signature that you want, you know, when we think of signature, we think thank you and like your icon and all of your information, you know, cell phone, whatever. All you need to do is copy and paste your canned email templates and call it what it is. So vacation reply, that's what you would label one signature, and then you write the vacation reply that you use all the time. Wedding inquiry response. And then all you do, because it doesn't send it automatically, all you need to do is change it to whatever is applicable, and bada bing, bada boom, you're done.
I think you can do that with Outlook as well. I'm pretty sure you can select which signature you want.
Yeah.
So that would be another option for like an Outlook.
Yeah. Sorry, I don't use Outlook, so I'm not overly familiar. But all the love to you. Like, no hate. All the love to Outlook. Okay. So that's one. And for those of you who don't have canned emails, or are like, what is canned email? I want you guys, probably all of you, unless you are very organized and already have all this stuff, go to your sent messages, okay? I want you to go through and I want you to find the sent messages, the same email that you have sent like at least 3 times in the past month. What are we, 10? Yeah, that applies. 3 times-ish, 2, 3. That's your canned email. That's your template, okay? So if you are going back and trying to find like emails that you're like, oh yeah, I sent this email to Sophia and it was amazing and whatever, and then you're trying to find that email, don't do that to yourself. Responses. If you need help writing them, or if you're like, I don't know how to word this, I do have 10 free canned email responses on the website, my website, if you want to grab them, work off of them. As you can already tell, my personality is
High energy.
that, those two.
I went in a good way.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah,
that.
kind of. Yeah, with no coffee, I don't know how I managed that. So obviously you would want to take them and tone them down if that's not quite you. If you're looking at me and like, who the F is this girl? Why they invite her? Yes, just tone them down, right? But they're meant to be like templates for you. So there's that. But then I am going to talk a little bit about Dubsado and Honeybook and 17 Hats. I know you said what you said. So
yeah, I don't want to get too into it.
well, yeah, but I'm not going to touch all of it. Touch. I know, it's like sound like groping, like, oh. Okay, so how many of you currently use Honeybooks or 17 Hats or Dubsado or any of the above, or if you're like, what the actual? Okay, perfect. In this one. But that was a half thing. Okay, perfect. So, I will be 100% honest with you. I got my start in the industry back in 2012. I was the studio manager for a Boston wedding photographer, so I'm very familiar. I was traveling to Boston every weekend from Keene. That was so fun. For a while. Yeah, anyway. And so I actually did all of this stuff that we're talking about manually. So, way he's saying, if, and this is only me, if I had known that those type of programs existed, 17 hats, Slips Auto, Honeybook, all of the above, keep saying those things, I probably would have chopped my left foot off and given it to whoever would have taken it if I could have had one of those. Because running a high volume type of business, or even a slower one, or even, minimal, it can be exhausting. How many of us are on our phones 24/7, on the computer, checking emails, wanting to get back to them immediately because we know that some of them are going to be, selecting the first person that gets a response back, but you don't really want them as clients anyway, side note, but I digress. So how many of us are checking emails all the time? Okay. Would you like a little bit of freedom to not have to do that, but not lose out on clients? Okay. Good, because I'm gonna teach you how. So, one beautiful thing about those types of programs is when someone inquires with you, regardless of whether or not they're your ideal client, an automated response can go back. So you can create this response for yourself and have your own flair and lack of and whatever in it, and say something along the lines of, and this is gold, so I write those down if you do go there. Thank you so much for reaching out to us. We are so grateful for reaching out. We will be sending a more personalized response within 24 hours. But in the meantime, if you haven't yet been able to check out our packages, our pricing, or whatever, please, you can do so here. We very much look forward to chatting with you soon. Okay, I lied. It wasn't gold. That was like bronze. But what you just did is you bought yourself 24 hours. Okay? So we're not talking Saturdays and Sundays because you should all be off on Saturdays and Sundays anyway, regardless. That's a whole other thing. Well, yeah, but you're shooting. Duh. But office hours, do not respond to emails on the weekends. I'll tell you why. Because then people start to expect it. And then when you don't, and you're burned out come middle of September and you want to kill them all, and it's okay because I would still call you postal, but I would understand it. So I feel like it's a balance there. Like you can, then you aren't getting to that level of burnout because you aren't responding to them on the weekend. So you have to set those boundaries right up front. So whether it's an email initially, once they've signed a contract with you, I wouldn't be saying to them in the first automated response, and by the way, I don't respond to emails on the weekends, and if you try to, well, whatever. Don't do that. But what you can say in your welcome package, in your letter to them, whatever you do initially, then you're setting the boundaries, and they're going to appreciate that more than if you are just what is it called? Layover? No.
I have a question.
So again, I've been doing this now for 6 years.
Okay.
I've been in the photography world, I've been in the planning world, and now I am in the back end of the world. I never once struggled for bookings.
Okay.
And that's not me tooting my own horn, that's
Right.
nothing like that. But the system I'm telling you with the automated response, they appreciate the fact that they got something back.
Okay.
Because that tells them that you actually care, that you have your ish together because they're getting something in return. But again, it's buying you that time to have the response back. If you feel like, okay, an inquiry just came in and I would really like to get back to them, girl, go for it.
Right, now you're very cut and dry and I wasn't sure if there was
The problem that I have foreseen, and many of my colleagues will tell you and agree with you as well, actually Tiffany and I had an entire conversation about this live one day with boundaries. If you don't set clear boundaries in the beginning,
Right.
then you're going to have to continue to do what you do.
Right.
You're going to have to be on 24/7. You are not going to have a life. You're going to miss out on many things. It's just the reality of it. I have 2 boys that are very, little, and I would have given anything to get some of that time back instead of being glued to my computer
Right.
all the time. And I'm actually getting emotional. Maybe I'm hormonal. I don't know. Sorry, Lee. I'm like, it's so important.
Right.
But you, again, you have to do what works for you. But what I'm saying is, I've never had somebody be like, oh, well, you didn't get back to me, and so I chose blah, 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 and whatever, and, you know, you really should get back to, I've never had that happen.
Right.
So,
I've heard with planners, planners, I feel like, say that a lot.
What?
That people expect them to get back to them immediately.
Yeah.
You do, which is why I do the same thing on my welcome email. Like when somebody books me. What were you gonna say?
We can't do that. I'd like to say that, you know, between Friday night and Saturday and Sunday night, I can turn off my email. And maybe 10 years ago, 15 years ago, we could do that. We can't do that today.
100%
Our younger clients expect within an hour, and that's a long time for them to wait. I'm telling you. We've gotten the only bad reviews in 25 years on Wedding Wire have been because David didn't respond within whatever their window was. Very strange. The responsiveness thing.
Yeah, 100%
And
agree.
we're on top of this.
Yep,
Night and day. I know we can set expectations, but they're the customer, we're the vendor. And
but you're also a business.
we're also a mom and pop business, and
Yep.
being on 24/7 is the name of the game. We can take our time off certain times, but that's sort of how it's been. I don't know if we can make the rules anymore.
And that's
as much as
Do you have an autoresponder up saying that you're out of the
We've
office and you're
never
not?
would.
Well, that's the thing,
When I
is that-
do, like,
Yeah.
Nicole does it really well, actually. I
Yeah.
love what she does. If I'm doing a wedding, I'm off. Wednesday, there's wedding.
Again, so do what works for you, but if you're finding that you're like, oh my God, I want to
we're
change
tired.
something, then it's time to change something.
Like,
That's when an automated situation
right, but
workflows work better because you can automate that at least a little bit to like
I think
simplify
my
it.
first
Mine's
initial
recommended.
contact, I definitely contact with you within 12 hours. After that, you know, I kind of set the boundaries. I guess to me it's more important to get that client and just let them know that I've recognized them, because as a insane shopper and emailer, it's gonna ruffle everybody's feather. I hate out of response. Like, I get it. You're out of office. It's the most frustrating thing in the whole entire world. Anything automated drives me cuckoo. I may be showing my age. If I call somebody and it's an automatic response, chances are I'm gonna hang up. Same thing on email. I'm older and I get an automated response, I'm going to the next thing.
Yeah, well, and our clients want an answer now.
Exactly. So it's not really about, oh God, taking time off would be great, and I do. It's just not stereotype. I don't have kids, and I don't know who it does at this table, but I guess I'm trying to build a business, and I want to make sure that my clients come first. And Monday,
So-
Tuesdays off, yeah, sure, but weekends, I
Well,
get
as a
what you're
florist,
saying.
it's totally
Right,
different.
It's completely
Because you're getting
whole
the
table.
orders, right? So what I will say though is that for the last 2 years, having my own planning business,
Right.
I have never once received a complaint because I let them know
Right.
that if I'm not sitting at my computer, I'm at a wedding, or I'm with my family.
Right, and I'm not saying we've gotten complaints, but like you were
Right.
saying, 24/7 when we were even planning everything, we're both like, okay,
I have a
okay.
question. In your email signature, I already know the answer to this, but
But I'm gonna ask anyway.
do you have office hours?
No, but
Then that's
a good idea.
so people
didn't
know.
My contract
You're
or
not gonna
business
get
hours.
email like office hour, and I've seen people do office hours Tuesday to Thursday 9 to 5. It's
Yeah.
like, holy shit.
Yeah,
like that.
but it works for them. And the thing is, with my clients, even now, so I still have 8 weddings this year, and then I'm done. Well, I have one in 2019, but then that's it. It's just not my passion. This lights me up more than planning weddings does. No offense, ladies. I finally found my truth. So, my brides, my grooms know that they plan on getting a response from me Monday morning, 9 a.m. They know. So if they're emailing me at midnight on Saturday, are you expected to respond to them at 12:30 in the morning? I'm playing devil's advocate here. Is that the expectation? Because they're up, they're drunk,
you know, they just got home.
excited.
They're excited. They're like, oh my God, it's in 2 weeks! Ah!
Well, we do have some crazy ones.
We all do. We all do.
But this is gold right here. We'll
Yeah.
put it in our signature. We can test out how
Office
it
hours.
works.
If you want to contact someone that has been in the business for, how long? 11 years? 10 years? I don't even know. 10 or 11 years, and she's a good friend of mine, contact Tiffany Learned. She does this to a T, and she avoids.
I know Tiffany.
Yeah. Contact her, because this is a conversation she and I have done a couple of times within my group and on my page, because it's something that comes up for so many people. The problem becomes when you aren't ready to let go. So an automation, sequence, inquiry, all of this that we're talking about, you have to be in the position to let some of it go. If you are, and this is no knock against anybody, because I myself am one, but if you are a control freak and you have to manage control over everything, then this probably isn't going to work for you. But if you are like, I am at my wit's end, I am ready, I can tell, trust me, I know,
tired.
I can read it, so,
And I drink a lot of coffee.
yeah, you do. So,
Another-
yeah, go, no,
but,
no.
it's like if you're trying to adhere to your office hours, but you're still like kind of on the computer at odd, weird times that you found little bits of time, you can schedule that email to send later, so it's not
Office
like.
hours.
Because like I send emails at like 1 in the morning,
Yep.
and I'm like, I'll make it seem like I got up at like 8.
Do the
tomorrow.
same thing.
And just like try to be like a little bit more of like a human being.
Yep. Yeah, don't respond.
Involved. We've been working together for 4 months, and her wedding is a year from now still. Like, she can wait till Monday, right? Because it's very different. So
It's triage.
Exactly.
Yeah, you can
Yeah,
check
we
your
kinda went
email,
off a
but
little
you
bit
don't necessarily have to answer it.
Exactly.
Because some habits are really hard to break. Checking email is one of them. For me, even. I'm like, what's that? I don't know, flag. Okay. Yeah, and then take care of it on Monday. So, that was fun. What time is it?
10
No, you're fine.
we still got 30 minutes.
Okay, cool. I can.
I have 7. I have to go put more time
yeah.
in my meter.
Oh, shoot. No,
okay, whatever.
you're in good company. It's fine. Okay, so the email debacle. All right, moving along. Do what is right for you. That is the premise of that entire conversation. So with scheduling email and all that fun stuff, if you use Honeybook, 17 Hats, Dubsado, anything like that, and don't realize it, there is the option to schedule emails in that as well. You guys know that. Come on, wake up, little guy.
Are you looking at my phone on that? I was trying to take 10 minutes and figure out because it's surveillance for a while. But,
Alfred.
oh, pick those pictures. I'm trying not to think about that.
Boom. Thanks.
She's over there looking at him.
Okay. Boom. Okay. So, here we go. Hi ho, hi ho, hi ho. So, this is what it's going to look like if you don't have a system in place, and let me know if this sounds about right or familiar, okay? Somebody contacts you. The email sits in your inbox until you remember to reply to it, or if you're a unicorn, you're going to reply to it 3 minutes later. You write an email from scratch, letting them know the first steps to getting started with you. You write another email right after because you left out the most important detail, because it wasn't a canned email from the gate. Okay? Sound-ish familiar? Or if you have a system, a workflow in place, somebody contacts you, you have an automated email response with everything they need to know that gets sent out within 15 seconds, or you can have it set as a timed interval so it doesn't look like you're sitting in front of the computer for 15 minutes. Whatever you want. You don't forget anything important. They easily can set up a consultation call, because if you do use Acuity or Calendly and want to do that, you have the option of inputting a button. And you can say, I'd love to get together and have FaceTime and wine, or just wine without you. And so, book here. On the consult, you have set questions and things that you want to talk about. Sound a little bit better? Ish, maybe? Okay, cool. Well, workflows and systems can set the foundation for each new client right out of the gate. So you don't have to wonder, oh man, did I tell this person about this, or this change, or this thing? is keeping everything consistent for you. And you look like a freaking rock star because you have your stuff together. So we are going to, like I said, fine-tune our workflows a little bit. So how many of you do have a PDF that you send out to people right away? Awesome. Okay. So it has all the information that they pretty much need, right? So you're not answering the same 17 questions every single time? Ish.
Well, so like, yeah,
No.
I have menus, so when someone
Okay.
fills out the general inquiry form, it's thank you so much for your inquiry. You know, we're really looking forward to working with you. We'll be back to you in whatever time frame it says, I think 24 hours.
Yeah.
You know, in the meantime, please look over our menus. Done. But I mean, I have
You have a
6
lot more
different
variables.
spaces that can accommodate different.
6 spaces.
Well, so it's one big space that can get separated into other spaces, then I have the outside space that can get split up. It's like
Okay.
too many variables to really like.
Wow, that's confusing.
Yeah.
It's and then there's like off season, on season, weekdays and weekends, and it's too much
It
to
hurts.
put in one
It
day.
hurts.
So they get menus.
Yeah. Do people kind of know where they, what business are you?
Atlantic Rock.
Okay. Okay. So,
Restaurant.
yes.
Just throwing it out there. You've never been.
I know. I don't know the. Thank you. I'll have to
Huge
go.
event facility too.
It's
Yeah.
very pretty.
Do people know where they want to have their event typically?
Almost never.
Okay. So then, no. Okay. Menus it is.
Yeah,
All right.
almost never.
Okay. Because I was going to say you could create a workflow for each location.
Yeah.
Yeah. That, I mean, but we won't get.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's
Yeah.
Like you could create more information on your website about the different venue spaces that you could then have like.
well, it's all
personalized.
on there, but they don't.
They don't read.
They don't
They
read.
don't.
I mean, people.
Oh my god,
And
people
like,
do
And
not
it's
read
not
that.
that even they don't read, it's that like they haven't thought about, do I need a cocktail hour? Ooh, am I trying to keep it to a budget, so I'm gonna skip the cocktail hour?
Right.
Like, you know,
Just don't
do
read
I
the
want
kids.
big long banquet tables going round?
Yeah.
Like they just
They don't know
they
that.
don't know enough to know.
Right.
Yeah.
How many guests
Little
can you
thing.
have there?
We can do 160 seated inside is the max. 120 with the dance floor.
So if we have an FAQ page on our website or a section just for weddings or corporate or whatever, and we don't have a PDF, should we have a PDF that just does the same thing as the FAQ?
No, if you have an FAQ system or
Send a list,
page that has
send a
all that,
link.
yeah, just say
Okay.
it would be.
Link it.
Yeah, it
Yeah,
would
that's
say
what we do, but.
go back and you know a lot of the answers to the questions you may have can be found here, and you link them back. And so again, that's helping your SEO.
So it's
and-
better than having an attachment?
It's not better. It's
Okay.
apples and oranges. It's one thing I will say, if you don't have an FAQ, and I'll do an SEO plug really quickly, if you don't have an FAQ page on your website because you think they're ridiculous or you know whatever, I actually agree with you. But what you're doing is a lot of the keywords that people may be searching for, you're putting them on that page. I know I saw Google, I'm like, yes! I have no idea. What do you do?
You're right. I'll just say you're right.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
We do a lot of search engine.
Perfect.
Optimization.
Okay.
We're similar.
Love him, love you, love it. Okay, I'm in good company. In the corner. So what you can do is go back through at like sent messages that you have done a lot of again. So this is like the same templates that you have or whatever. What are some of the questions that you get all the time that you feel like you're replying to all the time? That should be included on your FAQ page. But again, what you're doing, it's more for SEO purposes. It's helping you get found. So for those of you who are like, what is SEO? SEO equals being on the first page of Google if you know, if someone does like a Portsmouth wedding photographer. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. Okay. Okay. I think I'm losing people, sorry. Okay.
I'm thinking.
You don't want to think
thinking
about
of
that,
all
talk
those
to
things.
Lee's other business or mine.
Mm-hmm.
I can do that.
Okay. So how many of you send a proposal? Okay. How do you send a proposal? If you don't use Dubsado, Honeybooks, 17 Hats, how do you send it? Email. Okay.
I do it
Like a
after the
bulleted-
consult. I'm
Do
sorry?
you just do like bullets and be like, here's your price?
Yeah. Yes.
Because I do it after the consults,
Mhm.
so I have a phone conversation, I don't do an in-person consult. Then I send a proposal based on that.
Same.
Okay.
I mean, I
I
don't
have
have
a
anybody
separate
that's-
like venue type honeybook that
Okay. Oh yeah, yeah.
triple C.
Oh, aren't you so fancy? Okay. I mean, it sounds fancy.
It wouldn't work really for
Are they generally like
Venue?
similar? Like your proposals, are they like very similar from person to person, or is it like?
Same layout for everything, logo, it's because it's got all my contract and
But I mean,
everything
but
on
also,
it.
I mean, like the things that are like included. Are those like highly customized? Because I imagine
It's
like it's gotta
kinda
be highly
customized,
customized. Like,
yeah,
yours is
I
like all
mean,
about different
Yeah,
flowers.
different
and,
flowers, I mean,
know
the
they almost have
bride,
different
groom,
costs.
groomsmen, everything's different, I mean, I have a sort of a template that I follow and just kind of change the wording of what's gonna be included in like your bouquet and the centerpieces, but yeah, each one's completely and totally different, so
Yeah.
basic guide, you know, basic bullet template, and then I just fill it in with whatever I've, done for her, she's done all roses, okay,
Mhm.
handheld. But a lot of it is just sort of a, I don't want to use the word cut and paste, but I
Yeah.
think personally, but yeah, each one is it's very templated, and I just kind of add in for the bride what she's gonna get, and then mostly the dads and moms kind of stay the same, so I just kind of do those, so.
Perfect, yeah.
I try and streamline it so there's not as much work just
Yeah.
putting it out, yeah.
Okay. Okay, I'm gonna just skip over. I won't bother. Okay. How many of you send a welcome package? So once you've done the contract, the invoice, you've received your payment, welcome package, or welcome gift, welcome
Welcome
something. Welcome to the family, the crazies-ish.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. The cheapest way, the easiest way to kind of at least add something to your workflow for it, handwritten card. Just do a card. It'll cost you $2.49 order stamps.
See, I do that at the end. I do a handwritten
But you can do a
card
thank you at the end too.
with their picture of their bouquet.
You're setting the expectation right out of the gate that they're gonna get amazing service from you.
Just been like,
They're not expecting it.
I'm excited. It's like it's a little
Right.
surprise and delight.
Okay. Surprise.
Shock and awe.
Shock and awe.
If you want to get
Big
a
fan of that. I
lot more
hear it.
hardcore.
Lit
Now we're getting military. But yeah, just like something that they didn't expect, and they're like, oh my god.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I almost wonder, like, if you could press flowers, 'cause you must have like
There
flowers
is-
that are old. That
I
you could,
actually
like,
have a
press.
bride that sent me an image of her invitations, and there is a way, and I know I can buy little note cards that have seeds in them, so you can plant your thank you card
Cute.
after.
That's so cute.
Or
Thank you.
yeah, there's a few different things I'm kind of.
Except if your card gets wet and it
Right,
starts
there's
sprouting in the
They
mail.
open it, it's like,
Right.
Actually, that could be pretty bad.
that'd be
Actually,
good.
so
It's like a pop-up card, and the flowers already grown.
And they're like, oh my god, it's real.
You could send a package of it.
That's pretty easy. Okay.
Don't forget that.
Who has ever, and this is, I will raise my hand. Who here has maybe forgotten to send, like, I don't know, the final wedding details questionnaire or something like that?
Yeah, we've definitely forgotten to send things before.
Thank you. What? Final
Yeah, I know.
wedding
Believe it or not.
or just forgot to send a form and you're like, F. Has anyone said F?
Wow.
Sure.
I'm still 16 years. I definitely have forgotten a form
Me?
here or there.
So whatever forms you send typically to your couples, to your clients, that should be part of your workflow too. And so at 5 weeks, send wedding detail questionnaire. At 3 weeks, create a to-do to set up final cocktail date, sit down, whatever you want to call it. So those are steps for your workflow. Like, that's part of it. I'm trying to be very vague. If you are a wedding planner, wedding photographer, or portrait photographer, I do have free workflows on my website. So if you want to grab those and use them as a guide, florists use them too. Florists typically will grab the planning one and use that as a guide. You're more than welcome. They're free. So what templates do you need if you don't have them already? None of you are just starting out, so this doesn't really apply. But contracts, invoices, questionnaires, proposals, packages, emails, all those types of forms are considered templates. So whatever you use all the time to send to somebody, to get information from them, those are your templates. You may not even have realized that you had them, but you do. So my favorite part of a workflow is the automation. And again, I'm trying really hard not to ruffle feathers, but the automation is what gives you the time back. That's the beautiful thing about having workflows set up for yourself. So if you do all of that work and then still have to do all the work, you know what I mean? It kind of defeats the purpose. It's like you're doing double time almost, but not really, because it's like you actually know what you're doing. But at the same time, wouldn't it be amazing if at 5 weeks, instead of having to actually physically remember to send someone something, if it just went out on its own to them with an email that says, hey, just checking in, hope you're doing really well. Before I forget, I wanted to make sure that I grabbed the final details for your timeline. If I wanted to grab the final details and make sure, you're still friends with all your bridesmaids and we're not down any bouquets. Like, something like that. But that way you don't have to physically remember to do it. If it goes out on its own, then you know it's taken care of. And so when you get the email back and it says, ta-da, the form has been filled out, it's like, oh yeah, shit, I was supposed to mail them that. Good thing, okay, good. It's a beautiful thing. So, yeah. I'm trying to be very vague, but I feel like I lost a lot of people and I'm sorry. Yeah, you're all like, yeah, who the hell is this chick? Okay, I'm gonna sit down now.
No. So we have 10 minutes, so we can talk about if anybody has any questions.
Yeah.
I'm quiet because I get overwhelmed with like a year long of workflows. So I'm telling myself that I should probably just like start small. Like the last 4 weeks are really easy to like automate all of that stuff.
Do you want to see an example of one?
Yeah.